Welcome back to Transform Your Mind to Transform Your Life, the podcast. You're listening to Author's Corner, where we highlight and showcase our local authors. Today, I'm speaking to Vivienne Kjono, author and entrepreneur. And our topic today is going to be living life without limits. How many of you know that your limit is the limit that you put on you? You are the lid. So if you want to blow the lid off, then you can do that at any time. It's all up to you. So welcome, Vivian.
Thank you. Excited to be here. And everyone has potential, but sometimes we just get caught up in the noise of the world.
Exactly. Right. Yes. One of the things I learned a long time ago is that as the CEO of your life, that you are the lid. You can only go as high as you allow yourself to go. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Life without limits. Vivienne is an entrepreneur. So let me just give you a brief introduction. Vivienne is a recognized international entrepreneur, an author of two dynamic books. One is called Royal Crown Betrayal, based on a true story, and A Divine Darkness, a yay fantasy novel collaborated with Laurie Lansdowne, a Disney Plus author of the Villain series. Okay, so we're going to be concentrating today on living life without limits as an entrepreneur because they say that if you can never become rich or wealthy working for someone else. The only way you can do that is having your own business, become an entrepreneur, whatever. So that's where we're going to be focusing our conversation today. So the first question I have here for you, Vivian, is tell us about some of your international projects, such as procuring franchises for TGI Fridays, Absolute Vodka. How did you place unknown artists to become Absolute Artists of the Year with our concept of living life without limits?
Yes, was actually it was a friend of mine in Sweden who I grew up with. I hadn't seen her like in 15 years, and my mother said, "Did you know that Ava's a very good artist?" I said, "No, I didn't." I said, "Send me some pictures." So she sent me some pictures, and I said, "Wow, self-taught." And I happen to be involved in the Swedish American Chamber of Commerce in New York. It's the oldest international chamber in the United States. It started in 1906 as one of the first women directors. I've also been on other boards within that group. And I happened to be sitting next to a gentleman who imported liquor from all over the world, the Korean importers. And he was French. And he would do some of these glossy magazines. They would promote Absolute Vodka of the Year artists. And you would see it in Town and Country, all the pretty glossy magazines, Architectural Digest. So I just sat with him. I didn't know him. And I said, "Could you give me 15 minutes of your time?" I said, I have a candidate that I think might be a potential candidate for Artist of the Year. So I met him at the office. I had a cup of tea with him, and I promoted this wonderful lady, Ava Bostrom, and he said, "Yes, I'll look into it." So before I left, and I never have done this before, I pick up my cup of tea and I take it out to the lobby. And no, this sounds really stupid, but he was really impressed that I was just not that I was like actually thinking about my surroundings. And I didn't think it was anything. I wasn't going to be snobby or anything. I just had the tea down. I picked it up. I took it out. Somehow that was in his mindset. He looked at my girlfriend's drawings, and from then on, her career took off. I didn't realize how big that was. She did Munich all over the world, her drawings, which is beautiful drawings of fruit, realistic drawings of fruit. And it doesn't sound exciting till you look at the colors and how she does that. So now 20 years hence, that was one project that was done. I go and visit her, and I visited her mother, and she said, "Be sure to bring a package from Stockholm to Southern Sweden." I said, "Okay." We opened it up. It was the 20th year anniversary of Absolute Vodka in a crystal bottle, and it had stripes in copper. What are the odds 20 years later that I pick up a package, instead of a cup of coffee, I had a shot of vodka with my girlfriend?
Nice, nice. You
So
know, sometimes the universe conspires to help us out. So if you want to
yep,
live the life without limits not be the lid, you've got to connect with the universe in whatever way, right? Coincidence and
exactly.
everything, right?
Absolutely. You have to be a selfless actualizer. I read the book just recently, Inner Excellence by Jimmy Murphy. I recommend it to all your entrepreneurs. So you have thoughts and you have circumstances. Circumstances are facts, but thoughts are things. So beware of your thoughts. And I'm also like to write myself notes. And I use the calendar as big picture. So for your entrepreneurs, I like the calendars, the big picture, 2025, dream big. Don't dream small.
No, no.
Have an action plan, okay? And don't let the circumstances, which are facts, narrow your scope or your dreams. So I want to go into TGI Fridays. How did I run into that one? Well, I ran into it because I was trying to do my expense sheet and I had to watch my expenses. So I couldn't go to a fancy restaurant and sit down there and do my expenses. This is lunchtime. I didn't want to be standing up. I didn't want a pizza. I didn't want Chinese food, although I do like Chinese food. So I finally got to a restaurant that was okay. So I said, "Hey, do you ever have TGI Fridays here?" And they said, "No, we don't. We have Hard Rock Cafe." And I said, "Well, where is it?" They said, "Well, it's in the other part of town, but you're in central town. When you're doing business, you kind of go in the city and you spread out from there." So I came back to the US and I sat on the idea to contact TGI Fridays to see if they were open to have a franchisee in Scandinavia. And I sat on it because I have fear in me. I got, what happens if they say no? I had this inner dialogue. And then finally I said, so what? They say no. It's not going to change everything. So
Wow.
I reached out through my group, sitting on boards, young entrepreneurs, ageless entrepreneurs. Get to know your chambers of commerces. They're gold. And I just happened 6 months prior to that, met the CEO of the Radisson Hotel Group. And although I didn't meet with him, met in Minneapolis with his senior VP. That led for an intro into Dallas, where TGI Fridays. So then I got a non-exclusive contract for 1 year. Well, the problem was I was so excited on the plane. I said, I got the deal. And I suddenly realized, but I have to work it now.
Yeah, yeah.
So I said, well, hey, everyone, the phone is your friend. Your phone is your friend. So I called the commercial attache in Norway and they couldn't help me. But the lady secretary, the assistant, was very nice to me. She goes, call the local chamber. So I called the local chamber and they said, hey, you're in luck. I said, what did I do? There's three senior men who just retired, one from the Royal Port as a protocol in Norway, one from the military, Air Force, and one was. I met with the guys. I did my spiel on TGI Fridays. They said, well, you look like a nice lady, but we actually did a project with a local lady and we were taken advantage of. I said, well, who cares about that? I said, I'm here talking to you. I'm looking at you as much as you're looking at me. I said, I'm going to run background checks through Interpol because I'm representing the ninth largest privately held company in the United States. We check all our franchisees. So I said, it's a great deal. So they introduced me to someone and they didn't have the money. They said, we like you. We own pizza. Yeah, we have pizza franchises in Norway. And so, and I here's another golden nugget for your entrepreneurs. Anchor your relationships. I had this wonderful this synergy with this managing guy, director. 6 months later, he calls me. He goes, "Hey, Vivian." He goes, "You won't believe what happened to us." I said, "What?" "We just got bought out by the biggest newspaper concern, the Norwegian Oslo Times. We now have the money for TGI Fridays."
Oh,
So now
wow. Yeah.
all Scandinavian countries, and it's done extremely well. So again, the thoughts are things. I had fear to that big deal. So for 6 months, I sat on it. I was afraid to reach out to people. So another thing with entrepreneurs, we have to walk through the problem or walk through the challenge. So
Mhm.
that was a TGI Fridays deal. I also sold, scarves to Nordstrom's. So I was in Shanghai once, and I almost got Shanghai airport, but I got out of that one. And so suddenly I'm looking at things to do with my Chinese partner, and one of the things I came across was beautiful silk scarves. So, I bought some. I was working for a law firm. I'm not a lawyer. My background is international business. I headed up their subsidiary in international. And so I just said, hey, I'll just kind of on my own do this. So I did. But what happened is I made a presentation to Nordstrom. The Nordstrom buyer did not like me. There was no click. So I said, okay. I sat on her for 3 weeks and I grabbed a 26-year-old research guy off the floor at the law firm. I said, you know what? You are so good with people. And guess what? You're going to present scarves. I know you're doing research and construction, but I'm going to have you now present this.
That is smart. That is smart because she didn't like you as a woman. She might like him as a man. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah. So, so, so what happened is that my scarf sold out in 48 hours. Downtown store, also near the airport. So again, to the entrepreneurs, there's some people you're just not going to click. It's just a people's business. Don't take it personal. I was
Yeah.
trying to do business in Japan. They didn't want to do business with me, so I got a male Vivian, male me, going to do business. Well, I'm very respectful of other cultures. It's just the way it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. That is a great story. I want to circle back on the Inner Excellence book because it was blowing up when all the football players were reading it on the sideline, and I made a note to purchase it. But you know what? I haven't read it yet. So you're right. I'm gonna get to that because yes, I that's a good book. I mean, I saw some synopsis of of Jalen Hurts. He read it, and there's someone else that was read it, and they were showing some quotes from the book. And I says, you know what? I got to pick that up. So you recommend that as a book for someone, wanting to, live life without limits, be the best version of what you can be. That is great. That is great.
It's true. You can have a lot of successes, but you don't hang up on your successes because when I started in the stock brokerage business, stock and bonds, there wasn't very many women in there. That was like in the caveman days, okay, the 1980s or whatever. And I started out as an assistant, and eventually, I also happened to be a good test player, and I hit against the glass ceiling and my boss decided I should just be an assistant because I'm so good as an assistant. So
Yeah.
I didn't see it that way. And so I played with the corporate gentleman and I just said, hey, how about you sponsor me 6 months at NYU correspondence so I can learn how to trade stocks? And they said, well, you don't have a college degree. I didn't have that at the time. I got bored in college my third year and I traveled the world. I came back and I finished everything up and got master's. But at that time, I said, "Well, what does that have to do with anything?"
They always
I
throw
said,
that out in there. They always throw that in there. It's right. So you're right. It doesn't have anything to do with performance, but it's one of their criteria. It's very true. And there's a lot of people that got jobs without a college degree. And then when they try to go to management, they throw that crappy line at them. You don't have a college degree, so you can't go any further. Yep.
but when I got my master's, I went to Bank of America in San Francisco. They didn't care about me as a person because they're a big company at that time. They just want to put me in operations. I shouldn't be in operations. I should be in management, or where I'm dealing with people, right?
Right,
So the
right,
same
right.
with Goldman Sachs. They said, well, you finish your degree, you can come back and work for us. And I thought, okay, I was very polite. Well, what happened was I got my Series 7. I opened up my own business with my former spouse, and we analyzed all the security litigation from all the big wirehouses on the street. So we were the experts. So when it came to arbitration, we were there. When it came to huddling with the lawyers, we were there. When it was educating the jury Okay, what's an option? What does that mean? Why do we care? I said, you care because it pays 3 times more commission and the woman was a school teacher. That's why you care.
Yeah, you're looking at the least paid people, right? Yeah, okay, alright. Well, listen,
Yeah, so
this
it's
is
like,
really good, encouragement talk for entrepreneurs because everybody needs to know what's possible when you put your mind to it. Or you
what? Yeah. I mean, how do you go from finance and being a communication director for my sister's health and wellness company to now producing a movie? Like, is everyone on this Bronco ride? Okay.
Well, that's a question that I have here, that you also produced a movie, co-produced a new movie, A New Christmas. How did that happen?
Well, no one asked me to go to bed with them on the couch. You know, the Me Too moment. Too old? No, but
What?
no.
No, you're very beautiful. I'm pretty sure you've got pitches. I mean, maybe not for this one, but it all seems to be married, that they see a beautiful woman and they want to like, try to use that. Obviously,
Yeah.
that's what they do in Hollywood right now. You want this part, this is what you got to do. But anyway, go ahead. Like,
But anyway, I think we deal with that also in the corporate world, you know. And so, but it's true that I had I'm basically a creative. I was busy in the stock and bond world because I had to feed my family and make money. And that was a great way to make money. Okay. And so then I said, hey, but my spirit inside of me, the creativity, I said, hey, before I die in life, I want to know that at least I tried. That's another thing to you entrepreneurs. Don't let the light in you dimmer. So I decided to write a book called Making Us Blue for children, and then from there I did a a reel that I was going to show to Hollywood, and from there, one of my actors that I'd hire for the promo reel was a big Bollywood star, and my producer said, "Oh, you can't get him," and I said, "But he has a perfect look. He has the perfect voice. I need to toss him, man." No, don't take no, anyone. No is actually fuel for the yes that's coming your way as you retrack yourself. So I talked to Prashant Gupta. He agreed to be on the promo film. From there, he decided to do a new Christmas. He was born in this country. His family is in the jewelry business, semi precious jewels. And so from there, he asked me to come on board. And so I was an investor. Then I ended up being a co-producer on the film as well as Roshana Shaw, who I was attending the San Diego Film Festival last year. She took some great uh, accolades with the new film she just did. So again, connections, anchoring those relationships. So my small little book led to what I thought I should do a promo reel, which led to me making that phone call to India. And from there, and they live in Long Island too. And I've also, this is some of the jewelry I've just designed that's going wholesale from their family. And I have Capri Designs Co and,
you do
did
everything.
my things, you know? Like, so when you get creative, you can go a lot of fields, but the focus was be able to find your voice. So what is your voice in life? If you can make money as an entrepreneur, and then you can do your hobbies because you can't do everything. So I want people to know, although this is a Bronco ride, I was many, many years in the stock and bond business. And then I transitioned to this.
Mhm.
And it's just like my sister's wines. I got the wines into Costco. How do you do that? They're the largest purveyors of alcohol in the world. So my family produced some wines here in Northern California. My sister puts local guys, steward of wine here down on my desk and she goes, make it happen. And I'm going, what the hell? Honey, excuse my French.
Oh, you've been known. The life without limits, right?
I got drugs, health and wellness now to wine. So
And you're not done yet. I'm sure that if I were to bring you back in a year, you're going to tell me a lot more wins. I love this. I love this. Right. Okay.
But it was, so we got a shot, the winemaker and I went, we had 15 minutes with this lady buyer in Livermore, California. Her open to buy is $500 million. Okay. That was in 2016. So I'm sitting there. My competition is people from France with their vineyards. I'm sitting in the lobby with eight people. So I took the Costco magazine, I put in my winemaker's hand, I took a picture of that. The person before me took my 15 minutes down to 8 minutes because
Even ever. Right. Uh,
I'm not a wine connoisseur. It's my winemaker. So we go in there. She asks one question at your winery. What is the favorite wine here? And the winemaker says, "Well, they like all our wines." The lady repeated it one more time, the same question. Everyone, right?
yes.
And the look like, please, this is the Oscar moment.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Answer the
he
question.
says, and with confidence,
Yes.
"Yeah." We leave and he goes, "Vivian, I don't think we got it." And I said, "Hey, the lady plays poker. Sees the people all the time. She can't give away her cards. Don't worry about it." I said, if we get it, it's on me to put together sales teams to move it because I have to move so much a week. So I put together a sales team and we were actually hit. I actually stood for 4 hours without a pee break. I was so intense on moving this wine for my sister and her then husband. I just like, and then with the Costco shoppers, they don't want to be interrupted. Everyone has their list, right? So it's how you approach a Costco. So that, so we're doing great in wines. I got into Whole Foods, everything. So
You're getting the commission from all this, putting all these deals together.
I didn't get anything. I didn't get anything. But I
Hey,
mean, it
well,
was
the universe is gonna the universe is gonna pay you back, even if your sister did it. Wow. Wow.
yeah, it
Great.
was a wild
Good.
night. So now with my mom's book, The Royal Crown Betrayal, that's my newest venture. It's a book co-written by my sister, Christine Schaefer, and myself. And with the book there, my mom never knew really her father was, and she was raised by her grandmother, and her mother was actually her sister. It's a wild ride, just like everything else here. And she's in a carriage at age 19. The picture you see in Sweden, she married into one of the noble families, and it turned out to be a rotten marriage. And my mother escaped, and she came to Florida. She lost her voice. She was an opera singer. She was so emotional,
Mm.
dramatized by this, and it shows how a woman can rise herself through all circumstances. And my mom was married 6 times.
Hmm.
Each time was, I hope it works because I mean we married to hopefully make it work, right? But it's an adventure of how you can not be a survivor in life. You can be a victor. And my mom raised 3 kids, my sister, myself, and my brother. And I think the reason that we define success is knowing our own voice, knowing our own strength. We also happen to be Christians. We believe in God. We're respectful of other people, other faiths, and I think that inner strength is not always on your shoulders. You can always look up. Okay,
Right. Right.
this this book is the quote is life isn't fair, it's an adventure. And so you take this woman, actually the story starts when the Nazis came in. My mom was walking to Catholic school. She was 9 and a half, and they were told to shoot anything that walked. My mother was raised by her grandmother. She didn't get the news. So Jacqueline ends up at the convent, and the mother superior says, "Jacqueline, why are you here? We're being invaded." So she turns to a young novice, says, "Walk Jacqueline home." And the young girl was so scared because of what the Nazis would throw them in the bordello. So my mom walked home by herself
And didn't got that.
and escaping with her grandmother to Europe through Genoa in Italy, taking the Via Conte, the last ship as it leaves to New York. And before they get into international waters, up comes a U-boat, a German sub.
Mm.
Interesting.
Wow.
So it
Sounds like a good read. Yep. Wow.
and I've had people read it, and It's just, I think the word they use is wow.
Yeah. Well, I'm using the word wow too, just by your summary of it. Wow. Yeah, because any woman that can, come through 6 marriages, and any woman that can come through her experience and come out on top and have beautiful children like you, your sister,
Yeah.
and your brother, because
Right.
he
Yeah.
passes on that information to you, and you're living life without limits and going after the things that you want came from your mom because you saw her do it. It's amazing.
You did, and even my son, I only had 1 child. I wish I had more, but I have a wonderful son, and he came home one day and at 13 and a half and said, "I wanna fly jets." He graduated from the Naval Academy and,
Yeah.
get to
Go for what you want. Love it. Yes. That's what there's that's what we're supposed to pass on, not fear and timidity, and just going with the flow. Yeah, live your life without limits. Know that anything
and
is
don't
possible. And
Don't worry about other people's opinions. I also believe in giving back. So I'm part of the Mentor Foundation USA. And I was asked to come on board, and we work with taking children age 13 and 17 are underprivileged. And we don't want them to get into drugs or alcohol because that's the wrong route. So I just finished doing a program here with my sister, living the example where the kids film their dream, what their day is like, and we give them a scholarship on that, and also mentor them. The Mentor USA group works with the drug administration, and I'll go to high schools and talk about, oh, you want to be a filmmaker? Bring filmmakers in, tell them, oh, you want to be a musician? And also how parents can talk about drugs and things to their children. Also, there's programs. How do you talk to your kids? How do you connect? So giving back, you don't have to be successful. We all define our own success. I happen to like working with youth. And when I was a mentor for Seattle U, the graduate program on business development, business, I had adults in the class tell me, "Hey, I'm kind of bored with my career. I feel like I'm stuck." So, how to? How do we do the how to? And it was very fulfilling for me.
yes,
So,
very
for
nice.
13,
Yes. And yes, I love it. All right. Well, listen,
okay.
great conversation. I love
Yeah.
that we have imparted some examples of
Yes.
living life without limits, regardless of, using your mom's story, regardless of how you start, right? Wherever you start off in life is not where you end up, which is, my personal philosophy. So that's amazing. So Vivian, tell us your website, and where they can pick up
Yeah.
books and your social media.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. So, we just refined the website. It's www.vivienne, now VIVIENNE, Shono, KJONO.com. So you can reach out there. You can see the programs that involved in the impact, what I'm doing on different projects. And on social media, we just started a new Instagram account because I had one on jewelry, but now I'm doing the brand Living Life Without Limits. So it's just my name, Vivian Shono, and Real, Real. That's it.
Vivian Sono, REAL.
Vivian and Shono, KJONO. There's the whole name spelled out, and then the word real after it. REAL, real. Vivian Shono, real.
Real.
So,
Okay. The real Vivian Sono. Please stand up.
oh, yes, and I just I think if I was gonna sum things up a little bit is I think that I didn't look at no as a no. And I learned early on to take the word problem out of my vocabulary and replace it with challenges. Because a challenge kind of gives you energy. You don't say, I have this problem. It's how you look at it. How do I
I've
look at
heard
that
that one
challenge?
before. It's not a problem, it's a challenge. I love that.
It,
Yes.
Yeah, and so you wanna lose weight, you want oh, who wants to exercise? No, I mean, do we wanna be vibrant? Yes, so what do I do is something I enjoy doing, right? So it's just like I say the word, oh, that says the word vibrant. Pick words that really mean something to you.
Right, right.
And as I said, the calendar. I'm a calendar lady. My kids are my son, my nephew and niece. I taught them be calendar, be big picture.
Yes, yes, yeah. Well, yeah. Dream big. It's always been my motto, right? Yes. And these all right. So this has been a great conversation.
Yes,
And
thank you.
love your story. Love
Thank you.
love everything about our conversation, including your book. Well, I will have
Thank you.
a summary of my conversation with Vivienne on the show page, which is
Okay.
myhelps.us. I will link out to her website. I'll link out to her book, and I'll link out to her social media handles. So yeah, go pick up a copy of her book. It's called Royal Crown Betrayal.
Right.
And
Right.
hey, if you want to be inspired by someone else's story, this is the book that you need to read. How
Thank
somebody,
you.
survived through hardship, come
Yes.
out on the other
Yes.
side based on,
Yes.
regardless of, not living with her mom and having to run at 9 years old, and these things. So beautiful. Yes, I
Thank
know.
you.
And
Thank,
and
thank
raise
you so
beautiful
much.
children too in the process. So
Thank you. Well, I thank you for giving me the time, and I just enjoyed this moment too. Thank you so much.
you're very
God
welcome.
bless.
All right, guys. Then we're fresh out of time. So thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Author's Corner. Go ahead and share this episode. There was a lot of good nuggets in here if you're an entrepreneur and you want to live life without limits. And if you're watching on YouTube, would love to hear your comments too. All right. Thanks again for tuning in. And until next time, namaste.
Stay. Thank you.